Hello, so there it is. One is recording. This time I didn't forget to do it. So, oh, it's really complicated. No, it's not complicated, but anyway, here you go. This is one. And so, nervous. Sharing your timeline, video, title, breakfast with Max. About and with my hybrid children. Discussion with my hybrid children. There you go. Go live. All right, so I'm live according to what it says. And hello, I'm here. I'm just still sharing something. Let's do that way. Yes, so where am I? Here and here and here, and then let's share this. I'm already starting to say hello, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whatever moment you are, or whenever in time you may be. So here you go. Share one, share two, and share three. It's funny to see oneself with some seconds of delay. Okay, so this is done. Let's go back so that I can see somehow myself. And so I'm here totally with you. Hello, hello, hello. It's me. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so nice. Okay. I prepared this. It's not the main thing today, but I have something new. I received this finally. I ordered this two months ago. I think it's perfect. And I tried it before and the sound is great. So the crystal ball, you can see it's higher, and I think the vibration is coming better, because this is the original one and they are really flat. And well, we'll see. I ordered one, and I have others that should come soon, but it takes time because since this crisis that we have, the customs are not working fast. I don't know if they put the packages in quarantine. I think that's what they do, because it's taking ages to receive anything from Asia, and it was not the case before. So I really think that they put the packages in quarantine. Okay, all right. Great to have you. Thank you for joining. And oh boy, I'm really nervous today. I'm fucking nervous. Okay. Thank you for everyone joining, human beings and everyone else, all the guides, the friends, everyone from whatever dimension reality you're joining in. And whenever in time, it's still now. So welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. So I'm very nervous because today I'm going to do something. I'm going to do this because last night, as I was thinking of this, my ego said, you can't do it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to channel my hybrid children. They said that they are coming in. They are joining their energies as we communicate telepathically, well, with our minds, if you want. And so they are going to join in together. And yeah, as I was saying last night, as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, well, I'll ask to Roxy or yeah, to do it for me. And I think I'm going to do that anyway, to ask Roxy to do that. But for me, that is more a validation as, and I thought it's a way to have someone else doing it. So to make it more real. But then when I said that, I realized, yeah, but it's still real if it's in my mind. And I'm going to quote Harry Potter. Roxy does that a lot. Harry Potter is dad killed by Voldemort, and he lands in King's Cross and meets Dumbledore. And at some point, Harry asks, Professor, is this real? Or is it in my mind? And Dumbledore answers, of course, Harry, this is in your mind, but does it make it less real? Yeah. So everything is in our minds. So even all of this is in my mind. Even you are in my mind right here, right now. You think that you exist outside of me? No, you exist inside of me. All of this. As everything that is around you exists in your mind because you are creating it from the inside. You're not creating it. Nothing exists outside of you. Nothing. Nothing. But nothing doesn't exist. It exists because it's in you. I exist because of you. You exist because of me. That's how it works. All right. So, hybrid children. What I am referring to when I talk about hybrid children, let me just do an introduction here because I know that this is not something that is known widely. And hybrid children. So there are several, a dozen, I think, programs that are going on, even more probably. Dozens of hybridization programs. What is that? The human race, us, we were created. And in order to be created, they use about 7 main genetic material from other races. There are, well, many of them. I mean, but anyway, I'm not going to go too much into it. Mainly 7 races. There are a little bit more from others, but mainly 7 races that have given their genetic material in order to create us, to create the human being. We are an hybrid race, and so now what is happening with the human race right now is that we are doing that in order to create other races. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And I'm doing the very short version. So what is happening is that, and this is going on since, well, has been going on for a while now. You have already heard stories of people that say that they have been abducted by aliens. That's how they describe it. Well, it's real. It's happening. Even though not all of them have been really abducted by alien. Um, but what is happening is 1/3 of the population of Earth right now, 1/3, which is about 2.7, 2.8 billion people, according to the official amount of the official number that is given as of human alive, are part of one of these programs. So what happens is that people are taken and generally they land in a spaceship or something like that most of the time, and they have tests done on them, and they also participate to the hybridization program, which is that they have children. And this is done why? Because there is a need that they are experimenting and creating new hybrid races. One of the main program is led by the Zeta Reticulate. It's, well, you have already seen, it's the main picture that we have of aliens. It's a Zeta Reticulate. This is gray. We call them also the grays, with long arms and gray and these big eyes. And so the Zeta Reticulates, it's a variation of the human race. It's us in the future, but in a alternative reality. In that alternative reality, I mean, alternative is not the right word, because it's not alternative, it's another timeline. That's more correct to say, which means it's not in our timeline, it's another parallel reality timeline. And in that timeline, what happened is that the Zeta Reticulate have pushed themselves into losing their emotional body. By losing their emotional body, they have lost the ability to reproduce. And when they've lost that ability to reproduce, as they are very skilled in genetic, what they have done for generations is that they created what in Dune they call them Gola. They create wait, now I'm losing the word. So new version of themselves, which is I'm losing the word. It doesn't matter. So they kept doing that for some generations, but the genetic material was degenerating, so they couldn't keep going in doing that. So that's when they decided that they needed to create, to use genetic material that is as close to theirs as possible in order to create a new race with that. So with their genetic material and automated genetic material, in order to solve the problem that they were facing of not being able to reproduce. So that entering the human race. So we were chosen as I said, we are them in the past if we take time as a measure. So they came here, and that was decided, obviously, because that will not be possible without the if that was not accepted at a global consciousness level, that was accepted. So they came in and they started their genetic program of hybrid to create this hybrid race. And this has been happening for a while now. Where do I come in? As everyone else, at some point at my soul, let's say soul so that you understand, souls do not exist, but that's the word that you understand. And so I define it as global self, but here, because of religion reasons, soul is understood. So let's say soul. At that level, so a higher level of consciousness, I have agreed to participate into this program, as everyone else has. No one is forced into participating because it's not possible. Your free will is absolute. So I accepted to participate. So I'm participating into it. Now, what has happened and what is happening with everyone else is that the zeta diverticulate, as I said before, they have lost their emotional body. So they don't have emotions. Doesn't mean that they are bad, but when you don't have emotions, you cannot make the difference between someone that is scared and someone that is not scared. They, at the beginning, they had a way of doing it that was completely disconnected. They had human beings that were scared and they didn't understand why they were scared, because from their perspective, this human being had accepted to participate into the program. So why were they scared? But from the point of view of the human being, they were taken away by these beings that were behaving in a very strange way, that even though at that level, because when you are taken by these beings, you are taken, let's say, you raise, and they have ways to do it, you have to raise your vibration so that, in order to be able to go. So they take a version of you that is slightly more adapted in vibrationally, but at the same time you have no memory of it, because you cannot keep the memories. Your body, you yourself, you cannot handle this, so your memory are gone. Whether they do it, but more probably you do it, because they cannot, you see, they cannot do anything against you or against your will. So it's working together. But from the point of view of the human, that was completely disconnected. So most of us had the impression of being abducted and being used by this strange being. And so many have stories of being abducted. Anyway, this has now changed, because the reticulate, with the work that I have done with us and with our children, they have reintegrated their emotional body. So the program is still going on, but under other circumstances, because there is no more that huge disconnection between us emotional people and them without emotional beings that couldn't find a way to communicate. And now that's not happening anymore. But for some time, that's what was happening. So where do I come in? So at my higher self, global self level, soul, I agreed to be part of that. Also because in a other incarnation, I was part of that race. I am part of that race, because it's happening right now. So I have an incarnation there. And so that's a link that I have that facilitated the agreement of having me part of the global self, being part, as human, being part of this hybrid program. So being part of this hybrid program, so first of all, how do I know that I'm part of this? How can I say that I'm part of this hybrid program if I have no memory of it, and if, like quite everyone that is part of this program? So I know that I am part of this program because when I was 4 years old, I was in my room and a being appeared in my room. It was it must have been a 2 meter. It was very, but I was small. So anyway, the being was big. Um, it looked like a light being from my perspective, and I have different memories of that being. So I have, first of all, I have memories of me going in hiding because I was scared, but I have also memories of looking at this being and watching this being going through the room, and I have all the memories of holding this being's hand, and so what looked like as being one experience in reality is several experiences that I remember as one, and then I remember also different way of unfolding the situation and experiencing the situation. So I met this being, and now I know I was 4, and many will say you were dreaming. You know, even at 4, you make the difference between awake and dreaming. And I was very well awakened. I was not sleeping. So, and you were not there. So, anyway, and so fast forward, 40 years later, I have the confirmation of having of being part of this program, and now, as I said, so what does mean being part of this program? But it means that you have children, that because your genetic material is taken and used to create new beings. This new races are real. They exist. And so we have children that are our own children because they consider us as their father, mother, and as obviously it's not only human material that is used, but they use also other species material. They have multiple fathers and mothers, if you want to put it in a gender way, but this is genetic and this is higher genetic. It doesn't work exactly that way, and sex isn't something that is necessary in order to create beings. So they have other ways, and to be clear, for those that may think that they are using children or young boys and girls in a sexual way, no, they don't. Sexuality, if it's used only when the person, the being, has already discovered and is at age of being able to procreate and respecting the being. So nothing that happens in these programs, even though we may be scared, nothing that happens in these programs is against us. They cannot do it. It's not part of our agreement with them at our global south level, and we are part of it. As human beings, we may feel that we are inferior, that we are poor, that we are scared, that we are subject of it. We are not. We are in charge of it. But we tend to think that we are less than, so we think that we are not good enough. But we are taken as member of this program and not as subject, not as someone that is, we're not slaves, we're not used as meat. Anyway, so this all to say, I'm part of it. I know it. And also I have now memories of being there. I know of going. I have experiences of being taken and physical. I know I felt it. I was taken. I went there on a spaceship. I was out there, and and all of this was done in respecting my body, in the sense that nothing was imposed that I couldn't handle. Because the main problem that we have as humans with this kind of programs is that our body, our emotional body and our body, physical body, are not able to handle the situation, because it's so far remoted from what we accept as real, that we will shut down. We will just lose it when we experience it in a conscious way. So we are not able to do it so far. I mean, not all of us are able to do it. And I'm learning. I'm in the I mean, learning is not the right word, but I'm in the process of bringing this at the conscious level. But also you have to understand one thing, is that these things happen outside of time. How is it possible 2.7 billion people are taken from, and no one knows it? Because you are taken out of time. It's not happening in time. It's happening in the moment, but the moment is always out of time. So in the moment that you are in a spaceship and working on your hybrid program, you are out of time. And also you are raising your vibration, so you are integrating a higher part of yourself. You are expressing a higher yeah, expression of yourself. Because it wouldn't be possible for us in our current physical state to be part of it, because they are vibrating at a higher rate, at a higher level. And as Bashar says all the time, is that in order for us to meet our friends from other races, we have to meet them at least at half path, somewhere there, so that, because they need sometimes to lower their vibration, but they cannot lower it that so far. So we need to go somewhere in between in there. And so when we go, it's what happens. And so I had these various experiences of going, and uh, I have also met, this time consciously, the same being that I met as a boy. When I went, he was there, and I saw him for a second. I saw him, because I didn't have this experience in um, a way where it was not physical, in the sense it was not visual. That's the word. It was not visual. I sensed it. So they touched my body, they moved my body. I was taken, the first time I was taken like if I was on a doctor's thing, and they were taking my body, but my body was still in my bed, and I could feel my body being taken away. So I was in two places at the same time, if you want, which is not correct, because it's not at the same time. Well, no, it's maybe, no. It's correct. I was in two places at the same time, but time being not existent, it's not a thing. I was, my body may have been here in time. My other manifestation that was taken was not in time. So I was able in that way to be, let's say, what we will say, in two places at the same time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But then I had another experience of going, and being, that was more in a dream-like state. I was, and I know that I was in a spaceship at that moment, and I was, and I actually was with my brother. I was with a very, yeah, someone I love a lot was there with me, and it looked like a airplane, but it was not an airplane because the airplane was doing things that an airplane doesn't do. So it was a space shape, but my mental body couldn't handle the spaceship, so it transformed it in an airplane. That's why most of us as have experiences like that, but our mental body, they transform it in a dream where they see completely other things happening. In reality, they are having experiences in the hybrid program, or experiencing them. They are being living their life, because we never stop being and living, but they transform it in something that we transform it in something that our mental body and physical body can handle. So it changes completely what is really happening in something else. Because when sometimes you have bad dreams about this kind of things, it's not bad dreams. Nothing bad is happening. You interpret it as bad. You interpret it as your mental body and physical body interpret it as a nightmare, but it's not a nightmare. Nothing bad is happening. I had this dreams that was happening very often. This is often the proof that you have children. I had this dream where it was always two people were able to enter in my house from the window, from the door, wherever these people were entering. And every time I had this dream, in my dream I screamed. I was there. "Ah!" I was scared. It scared the shit out of me until I had this. I listened to this to a interview by Ruben, where this woman said that in fact that's the way our children contact us in our dreams, and often they present themselves at the door, or they enter, but you interpret this as a nightmare. So when I heard that, I changed completely the way of seeing these dreams. So I understood that is not a nightmare, that these beings are coming to see me and not to aggress me. So when those dreams happened again after I received that information, I no more have bad dreams. Now they come in and I welcome them and I meet them. I'm no more scared, and the experience is completely different. So you see, when you have the information, when you understand what dreams are, you are able to transform what you perceived before as a nightmare into something new, something that allows you to relate to the dream and to see the dream in a new, completely new perspective. So I recently, I think last week, I had one of these dreams, and I was sitting. Now that I'm working from home. I think at that moment in my dream, I was working, sitting there, and suddenly I have two men coming in, and I was surprised. But as they came in, my reaction was not to be scared or anything. I went to them, I gave them my hand, and it was in a dream. So you see, it was not in. You see, it was in another reality, in another place. So we were doing something else. That's my interpretation of what was happening. What I'm telling you, it's not what really happened. That's what I'm telling you. It's my interpretation of the dream. I created a state, let's say, a cartoon of what really happened. And so in my dream, which is called dream, and in my dream, it's what happened. In reality, that's only smoke. Behind the smoke, something else happened. That's always what it is. A dream, most of the time, is smoke that you put in front of your eyes because you cannot handle what is happening behind the smoke. So I have these two guys coming in, and so I go to them, I give them my hand, and I accompany them to the door, and they leave. So we met, and that was two of my children coming to visit during my dream. And so that's how it works. Most of the time it's dream time when these beings are able to communicate with us in a, let's say, conscious way, where something is coming in. All right. So I have, I think, 8. But it's difficult to say. I have 8 children. That's what I know. 8 children. But I have the names of 3 of them. I can ask also the other ones. And they are from 2 races, because we are creating several hybrid races. Yael and Sassoon. Now, Yael are really looking a lot alike us. And that's the first race that will contact us in the future. When we will be ready, the first contact, what many people will think it's the first contact, it's not the first contact. They are already here in many ways. But what officially will be the first contact, and our governments, most of our governments have already been visited by extraterrestrial life. So they're just hiding it from us, but and it's even not a news anyway. So the Yael will be the first coming. The Sassoni will be, and Bashar, Dare Onka Bashar. It's a Sassoni. Sassoni is the planet Sassoni. So and that's another hybrid race that is in our future, and that we are co-creating at the moment. So okay, all of this to come to finally let my children talk. Oh, hello, Savut. My wonderful Savut from Siem Reap in Cambodia. Hello. Hope to see you very, very soon. We are missing you all, and we hope that you are all well. Okay, let's go. Hello. So here I am, or should I say, here we are. Whew. This is a first. So our dad was very scared to do this, and well, we are as well. And we are very excited to share this with you. uh, today to be here with you in this way. It's a first for us, and so we're enjoying it. And now that it's happening, and well, this is amazing. This is great. So, um, my name is Andromeda, and I'm talking for all of us. We are connecting in a way that allows all of us to bend our energy together. It's some sort of, let's say, telepathy, but it's more than that. It's really joining our energies, and with that we are able to talk as one, and that's what we are doing. I'm just presenting myself as the one talking, but we are talking all together. It's how it works. And in many times when someone is channeling one what you perceive to be one being, in reality is many beings that are bending their energies together. So yes, oh, this is fun, this is great. Okay, so everything that has been told up until now is all obviously true, and that's how you perceive it. It's how I would like perceive this, and so this is how it's happening. That's how we are because of this program. This program was created, to allow us to come in existence as these new species, Yael, Sassoni, and many others that are following, so that we are able to give to the future of humanity, to the future of Earth, and what you perceive to be the future, a new race that is able to come in, join you, and ensure the future, because we are working for what is like your future. You perceive it as being the future. It's 8 times 9. It's a way of doing it, and we are not taking your place. We are your future. To be clear, and yes. So I'm Andromeda. With me, I have Luisa with Z. There is Louis, there is Kale, and there is Marty, and there is and many others. So we these are the Yael. So yeah, it's mind blowing. The first time that that her is hearing this name, so he is surprised. Yes, excited and amazing. And because we are not always coming up in the conscious, and you have to understand the way we communicate with the conscious part of our dad is through dreams and through, let's say, what you perceive as being channeling. The channeling part is sometimes, from our point of view, it's challenging because we need our dad to be in a state of reception, of being able to communication with, which is he is not always ready or open to it, because his mind in your reality, in his reality, can be at something else. So he's not listening to us and what we're telling him. So we need to have him receiving us, so ready to receiving us and communicate. So some and this and what makes it sometimes also difficult is that as a human being that has um, uh, to overcome his fears and all of his belief system of not being enough, of being less than, or this kind of thing that you as humans you learn a lot, and that you have on your path before arriving, as he has arrived in a spiritual path that allows you to learn new things about yourself and to let go of what you have learned before, from your parents, from school, from your educational system that is very archaic and do not teach you a lot, quite nothing. And you need at that point to learn everything new. You call this spirituality, you call this new age, you call this whatever you call it. But it's like something, you know, deviant or going in another direction from the right direction, which is from many of you religion and these kind of things. But then some of you like that learn that religion is invented, or I mean it's a belief system as any other belief system, and so that if you want to learn about yourself, you are not going to find it really in a religion, but you have to find it inside of yourself. Doesn't mean that religion is wrong. It means that you have to find it inside of yourself. And religion can help you, but it cannot be the only help that you have. You have to open yourself wide to anything that comes your way, because you have everything that you need coming your way, so that you can find yourself. So and learn more about yourself. And the more you learn about yourself and you accept about yourself, the more you are able to deconstruct those things that have been put there in order to limit yourself. And you discover your limitless side, because you are limitless, and it's not a side in reality, but it's what you are. You are limitless. You are a limitless being that creates yourself as limited, so that you can discover again that you are limited and that you can do everything. So this is where Dad is standing, and now that he is learning to let go of all that was holding him back, he's able to create a new version of him that is open to all of this and open to communicate with us in this way, even though he is scared as hell. Because it's new, never attempted before with him and us. So we communicated, as we were saying, in another way, generally. So, and the difficulty is that when he is not concentrate or open to the communication with us, and it's doing something else, it becomes very difficult. When he is not trusting himself in the communication, he puts barriers on the communication, so that it becomes hard for any of us to really communicate with him. And sometimes, and one of the things that he has a really difficulty with, it's names. He's scared of names because he's scared to fuck it up. And he hasn't really yet completely integrated the fact that he cannot fuck it up. He cannot. He just cannot. But with name, it's the thing that for him becomes real. When he tries to recuperate a name, to allow a name to come into his conscious as energy, he panics. And that's why many of our names are still not in his consciousness, because he blocks. It's not that the communication has not come, it's that he blocked it, because he was still thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm scared. And so you see, today is a way for him, what is happening right now is a way for him to trust it, to let it go, and to be with us in this way, and to say, fuck it, it's real. I don't care, it's real. And this is why we come to be here right now. It's because it's real. And it's, as it was saying before, it's real in his mind, but that's all it takes to make something real in your mind. It's that it's real. because you are creator beings and you cannot do anything else than create. As we are also creator beings, but we are conscious of it. We know that we are creators. We know that reality is created by us. So for us, it's another perspective and it's another way. It's easier for us to communicate. It's easier for us to be there. It's easier for us to understand all of this. So to complete what that was saying about all of these things, the hybrid program, many of you are part of it, 1/3 of the population. Obviously, you do not know exactly the number of the population because everyone is creating their reality. So the number varies from reality to reality. For some, it's 8 billion, for some, it's another number. So it's not possible to fix it and to have it. And none of you can count the population of the world, because any number you are giving as the population of the world, you are creating it, as you are creating everything that is in your reality. So that's the way it works. So anyway, 1/3 of the population is participating into creating these new hybrid races. So us. It is important to understand that none of you is used against their will into participating into these programs. All of you have volunteered into this, if you want to use this word, but it's a things that you have agreed, because as you as beings, you have your free will, and free will is complete and total. No one can take away your free will from you. You can create a reality where you are a slave, where you are whatever you want to be, but it's creating an experience for yourself. That's what it is, a creation by you. But you never in reality lose any of your will, of any of your free will. You are giving up for a experience, but it's just illusion. As all of what you create is illusion, because it's not real, in the sense that you are creating it in the moment for your experience. And it's real, but it's not real in the sense existing outside of you. It's real in the sense that it's inside of you. That's where all of reality is, inside of you. So we come to be, thanks to this program, and we are able to exist. And at the moment, we are in spaceships in around here, between Venus, Mars. Sometimes we come near Earth to observe, because we need to come nearer. So we are preparing ourselves. Other ships are huge. Some of these ships are literally huge, and recreate an atmosphere that resemble Earth. Why? The nature and everything. Why? Because we need to acclimate ourselves to Earth. Because we were born, we were created outside in space. So living on a planet and being grounded on a planet is completely different. Obviously, you and our dad living on planet Earth is creating Earth for itself, co-creating it with Gaia. Which is a being, a really alive being. Gaia Earth is alive and co-creating with all of you. So that when you have that experience, when you are creating with a planet, it's completely different than being on a spaceship, obviously. So we need to acclimate ourselves to planet and mainly to planet Earth, because that's where we are going to be in your future, in when we will enter your reality, uh, your consciousness as beings. Um, now, um, we have our spaceships are recreating nature, creating or giving us all that we need in order to have these experiences, and we have ways, obviously, to come close to the experience, because uh, our technology that we have in these spaceships is way much more advanced than what you have on Earth at the moment, available for you on Earth. Some of this is actually on Earth right now. It's just not given to you, because most of the problem that you have could be solved with this technology that is held back by your governments. But this is another story. So we have, yeah, as Dad was saying before, we were born with the use of many genetic material from human beings and other beings, and when we were born on these spaceships, we were taken care of. This is one of the things that is the most difficult for Earthlings. When you learn that you have children, it's difficult for you, because as parents, human beings learn that you have to take care of your children. So you cannot do this, and this is the main issue with a lot of you, is that you have the impression that you fail us as parents because you were not there for us. But this is your conscious reality. It's your third dimensional, let's say, being part of you that is perceiving reality in that way. For us, from our perspective, you are never away from us, because we are able to communicate with you in many ways and in many level of consciousness, or vibrationally, if you want, because we are perceiving you in a completely other way, and we are at the moment out of time. So we are able to be out of time, so that you are, when you come to us, it's out of time and it's in another dimension of consciousness, so that you don't keep the memory of it, because it's not, you can't. So it's, in other words, it's mainly in your dream state, or when you come participating and working on the program when you are taken. And that can, as for that, happen in this moment very often. And it's always out of time, because you are able to be back exactly where you were in time, and keep creating yourself as if nothing happened. And that's what you do all the time, by the way. You keep creating, and you don't have the sensation of the awareness of living. You never left in time, but out of time you go, and you go somewhere else. You change your vibration, you come, and that's what that does. And it doesn't need the experience, the first experience that he had coming to us. He had this experience of being taken, like in a hospital, being in a what you call hospital bed, and being carried away. That was his experience in that moment. But that was because he needed that experience in order to relate to it and make sense of what was happening. But in reality, and to relate to it and to be able to connect with it. But now in reality, that's not the way of it happens, because I mean, he's coming all the time, or many times he comes, and it happens in a blink of an eye. It's not someone goes there and he's out of time, and they go up, they go, and they are here or there or wherever they want in the universe, because uh, moving, when you are at the right uh, vibration, moving, it's from one point to another point is not a big deal for any of us, but you have to raise your vibration at the right rate in order to be able to do that. So it comes to us very quickly, and so we are able to experience him in another way, and in a way that he doesn't remember, because his emotional body, his physical body cannot handle it right now. It's too big, and it's too big for many of you to really see things as they are, because it's so removed, so far away from what you believe, that it's too much. And so he is working on his belief system, so that letting go of this belief system, he will be able to more and more relate to these experiences and have these experiences in a more conscious way. And some of you are doing exactly the same thing as he is not the only one having these experiences. And so for us, there is no separation. He has never been away, living his life, letting us behind. None of our parents have done that. But what we experience for many of us is that we also have moments where we are at the care of these beings that are originating these hybrid programs. And so what happened when they started, as they didn't have the zeta reticulate, the gray didn't have their emotional body. So it was for us, as we are your children, we have Earthlings genetic material, we also inherited your emotion body. Earth is known for emotion. It's a place in the universe with emotion. You are emotional. You are a big emotion. So we are emotional as you. And we were confronted with beings that were supposed to take care of us mainly, but that didn't have emotions. So we were living in a way very strange, with this being completely empty from our perspective. And so we had to learn to relate to something. So that's why for us, that's one of the reasons for us, our contact with our parents, our earthling parents. We relate to you, we need you, because you taught us our emotions, to deal with our emotions, to accept our emotions, and not to let go of them, or to be scared of them. Because one of the reasons why the zeta reticulate let go of their emotions is that at some point they had a way of seeing these emotions that was virulently negative, and they were scared of these emotions, because they were perceiving the emotions as something that were keeping them back, or not allowing them to express all of their potential. Well, they express maybe a bigger potential when they let go of their emotional body, but at the same time they became sterile. They couldn't have children anymore, so they lose the ability to have children. So somehow it didn't serve her, completely, totally didn't serve her, to lose their emotional body, to let go of it, to be scared of it. And so we discover through you, through our parents, for us personally, through our dad, we discovered that emotions are really very important, and that the moment that you have emotions, you have to embrace your emotions as something that is part of you and something that you can use for yourself, and that make you relate to you and to everyone else that is interacting with you. And it's also a way to experience that thing that you see so highly, that as an emotion, which is love. And when you understand that love is what made us, it's what we are. You as human being, you are created from love, but not the love that you perceive as the love of two parents. That's not it. It's love. It's what you are. You are creating from love. It's the energy that creates you, and that's the energy toward which you are all going back. We are all going back there, but also we are that as well. We are love incarnate, as you are love incarnate. So thanks to this relationship that we were able to keep with our parents at all the levels of consciousness, from our perspective, we were able to embrace our emotions. And the outcome of this, it was very great for us. It was fantastic for us because it gave us the ground to grow up and become the beings that we are, but also with that relationship that we were able to create with our parents, earthling parents, we were able also to influence the gray, the reticulates in a way, together with our parents, that they decided to go back, to take back their emotional body, so to experience emotions again, because they didn't lose them as they don't exist anymore. They were suppressing them as they are, maybe, let's say, in just a little, their finger, the little thing that is just there, never used again, so that it was there but not used, and very little, in a very secretive, very far away part of their being. And now they have let that open and become them again. So they are experiencing now all of this that is happening, the hybrid program and everything. They are experiencing it in another way, much more, let's say, positive. It's not positive, but it's a word that you use a lot on your earth, in a more constructive way, and they are participating into it in a more constructive way, and they are handling the contact with you from earth in a completely different way, which is that your experience, the experience that our dad is having right now with the program, is completely different, because he can come and have a exchange with the zeta reticulate and not be scared of them, because they are not giving him a a a a phase of fear. They are not treating him with distance and with disdain, or with superiority, or without understanding. And that was the big issue, is that there was no understanding. When a human being expresses emotions, he does it in a pure way, especially when they come they come here. Your emotions are even more stronger, because you leave behind you your physical body, so you are less restricted by your belief systems. So your emotions are even more pure, more strong. So when you are fearing the situation, so when in the past you were what you felt to be abducted by this program for this program, your emotions were expressing themselves in a more strong way. And so you have to see this gray confronting with this pure emotion when they have no emotions. Well, it was terrible. It was horrible for you, because when you say to someone, I'm scared, and then they say, why are you scared? It's not that they were mistreating you, it's that you couldn't understand what was happening and you were scared and they couldn't understand it. So they look at you, why? And they do whatever they have to do, and you have the impression that they are forcing you, but they are not forcing you, and they are doing everything they can to keep you in a good way. But as they don't feel emotions sometimes, when they examine you, or this, they are not careful enough. They don't understand that you can have some pain at some point, so they keep going, even though you are screaming that you are in pain. You know, these kind of things, horrible things from your perspective. From their perspective, nothing at all. So, but one thing that we have been really appreciative of with our connection now with our Father, especially with the connection of this reality of this third dimensional version of our Father, is that when he learned about our existence, as we said, it's not that he didn't know that we existed. He didn't know as a human being, experiencing or creating his life in the dimension on Earth, as this. So he didn't know as this that we exist. Mm-hmm. So when he learned about us, he expressed a joy and a commitment, and he was instantly taken in and joyful of our existence. With it's not always, discovering these kind of things is not something that everyone relate to or they take with joy, because they understand that there is something that happened that they don't know. So that did know that, but what we appreciate is that he was able to elaborate it and to come to the conclusion and say, well, whatever happened when I was part of this, and this happened, I don't care. I mean, I care, but he cares, but it's not something that he sees as terrible or whatever. What that says is that the outcome, it's us, and that's all that matters. And even if the program may have been painful, or and it was, that's not important. That's not the main thing about the program, because if you, he said that if he had to focus on the pain and on the scare and on all the things that has happened that have been difficult, painful, and whatever, if he has to concentrate on that, he's losing the point of this program. These programs exist for us to create a new race, to create new children. And he has the understanding of this because he has in his previous, what you perceive to be previous incarnation, he was a hybrid too. And he arrived on Earth as a hybrid, a Lyran, with the Lyrans, and and so as a hybrid, as he has hybrid previous lives, he understands being a hybrid and the creation of hybrids. So he relates to it in a certain way, and so he has been only joy and happiness and loving in all way possible. And we are so happy, so glad. We feel with our hearts that, oh, yeah, getting emotional. um but we are grateful for his support, and he is completely committed to us, and we understand how, um, this is very joyful for us, because to have a complete commitment from a parent helps us a lot. He has explained to us about emotions, how you work, because this is something that we are curious about. It's your emotions. How do you deal with the emotions? Because we are, uh, as we said, we have been taken, we have been created, and we have been under the caretaker. We had caretakers that didn't have emotions, so they were not able to relate to us and to tell us about emotions. So we are very curious about this kind of thing. We are curious about your life. How do you live on Earth? How really is Earth? And we are able here to see a little bit of it, but we are in space right now. And even if we have created um, environments that allow us to experience what Earth can be, the nature and these kind of things, we are still in space. So we are curious of Earth. We are curious of discovering and to knowing everything we can know, because it's an experience that we know we will have in your future. It's going to happen. We will be there. But we are curious about it, because it's we understand that it's a joy, and it is a great experience to be in a planet, to experience the planet. But we don't have it really. Yes, we travel, we experience other planets, but we cannot really relate to those planets, because that's not our destination. If we acclimate ourselves to another planet, when you enter in the consciousness that's entering in the consciousness of a planet, well, it's not easy to, because then you are part of that planet, and your creation is related to the planet. So in order to change planets, it's completely different. And if you go to a planet that is not your planet, that's why it's very difficult. You have to be accepted by the planet. You have to enter into the planet. So that's why we acclimate ourselves to Earth. So we have to be careful not to acclimate ourselves to any other planet, as for now we don't have a planet. We have to be careful and keep staying in our ships, and keep focused on Mother Earth, and you call it. Yeah, I think it's time for us to go, um, and to say goodbye. This has been a really amazing experience, full of surprise for all of us. We were all um, wanting to explore this, and yes, um, thank you for this experience. Thank you for allowing us to come through and have this contact in this way. We are all of us, and so as I'm the one speaking for all of us, allow me to express all my love, all our love, and commitment. And thank you to our dad, and thank you for all of you that joined in. All right. Okay. Wow. I wasn't. I didn't know what to expect. Wow, that worked. That worked. All right. So, wow. I don't know if anyone has any question at this point or at any point. I don't know. You can write them in the comments. And I think I'm going to process this. I need to process this. Wow. Uh, well, thank you to Andromeda and everyone, all of my children that join in. Um, you see, it's I admit it may sound strange to some. It's that I really decided instant. I mean, I decided that um, this is the main thing. And from the moment that you know that this program exists and that you have children that comes from these um, these programs, who cares about the rest? It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And it's a honor to be part of this. It's an honor to have these amazing beings, these amazing children. And I'm not the only one with children, obviously. I'm not the only one with contacts. There are people that are contacting, receiving draws of their children. They communicate in many ways because they are trying to communicate with us. They are really curious of us. They are really wanting to connect with us because it's really important for them. And it's important for us as well because this is also a way for all of us to understand that there is more out there than what we have decided to limit ourselves to. And I think that for me, the love that I feel for them, I mean, that's it. And I don't need more understanding or more information or more whatever. That's it. That's what it is. And I'm part of it. It's part of me. And that's all. And but I understand that there are some people that have problems with this because you know, people like me, especially I think for women, the fact that you know that you carried the child for some time and that it was removed or that it was, taken, or especially when the woman doesn't have earthlings children, it becomes really very difficult to process. Um, and so I understand that it's many people needs more processing and understanding about it, and you have to know and you have to understand that for them it's not a problem. They understand that we can have issues, that we can have whatever when learning about this, and the last thing that I'm going to say is that generally these programs are, um, if you are part of the program, your family is part of the program. They take people for their genetics. So I know that my mother, my sisters, and my family, from my mother's side at least, is part of this, and that they all, most of them, and yeah, my grandmother can confirm that. Yeah. Also, my grandmother was part of this, and from her side, a lot of people were part of this, and which just generated some problem at in the physical world. for some of them. It's a difficult thing to relate to, especially when you had the old version of the Zeta Reticuli, because they were different. So the way that people related to what was happening was different. My it has generated a lot of problem for my sister, for instance. But I mean, it's not that it had that's the reason why she has problems. Is that it's something that she used in order to create her reality in the way that it is, and at the end of the day, it's the way I perceive her. It's my way of perceiving her. So it's my reality in which I see her. So it's her business at the end of the day. But there are people that react in that way, and it's difficult to process. But the main thing to understand is that is a family business. So it's the genetics, and this has been taken care over a lot of time, because when the Jewish survived 40 years in the desert, they were helped by, well, maybe this is a little bit too much information for some, but extraterrestrial intervened to save the Jewish in the desert because they were interested in the genetics. And so this to say that as they are out of time anyway, but they have been monitoring our genetic for a very long time, so that they can they can use our genetic in a good way. And as I said, we are participating in it. We are not forced into it. We are agreeing with it. It's very important to understand, because I understand that it can be scary to hear about these kind of things. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to say goodbye. And to say thank you for joining and to listen about this. Somehow I was experimenting, but well, hey. And thank you for joining in at any moment in time, which is now, this moment, always. And I love you all. And if you have any question about this kind of things, please, you know how to contact me in the comments or by messaging or whatever. If there is anyone that is curious about this, do not fear, do not keep you away from this. It's a world that is worth discovering. It's an experience that is worth having. So thank you again for joining in. I love you all, you and all the beings that have been coming in. Thank you so much. And I say goodbye, and I love you all. Bye-bye.